and welcome to another episode of You,
Me,
and the Flea. Happy Thursday.
I know. I can't believe it's already almost the weekend.
We love Thursday. Friday Junior, if you will.
Ooh, little Friday Junior.
Not even that, but I mean, come on. It's You, Me, and the Flea day.
The best day of the week, obviously.
I know. Seriously. It's become my favorite day of the week for sure.
I mean, I always loved Thursday, you know?
I did too. Like, that was my last day. Like, I always had classes on Tuesday and Thursday. So, like, Thursday when you were done,
Same.
It was like...
I never took Friday classes. I was always
best.
like a Monday through Thursday.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know if it was offered. But anyways, all that to be said, Thursday.
Thursday.
Anyways, but... I want to start by talking in this episode about some, our pop-up in Peotone, but starting off the episode, love to chat about some of maybe your favorite pop-ups that you've ever been to. Like, there's a ton in the city. I know off the top of my head, one that's coming up probably for the fall is Jack's. Have you ever gone to like Jack's like pop-up pumpkin patch?
Oh, I haven't gone, but I've seen it. Yes.
Or like Frosty's, like the Christmas bars, and like, oh my gosh.
Even like, I wouldn't consider like the Kris Kringle like a pop-up, but kind of
No,
is.
It definitely is.
So I feel like that's totally in my top 3.
We're going to talk about, actually, that's kind of like how pop-ups started. Like, yeah, and that during that time in like Europe. But yes, that's a good one. Or like they did The Office, Harry Potter. I've seen.
I mean, there's been
Stranger
Prince.
Things. Yeah, Prince. There's one for Barbie right now.
Yeah. Like that's the Barbie Cafe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Golden Girls. I always see the city do. Friends. Remember Friends? Like did one.
There's a ton.
Even I don't know if you've seen like brands like Lululemon will now do like pop-ups with like fitness like centers,
like
so
Equinox, Lifetime.
Well, they'll like invite like little local gyms in the city because they have like a 3rd floor, I think, and so they like take that 3rd floor and have all these like local gyms like host a class there. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Brand awareness for Lululemon, and then obviously like for that, I think that's pretty smart. Or like I've seen Fitness in the Park, and it'll be like, hosted by like a certain one. I think that's always good. I also found some like really cool, like notable ones that I wanted to like touch base with you on, because you'd probably like, I think we have similar interests. But so there was a company called Solve, and it was based in Minneapolis. And what they did was like, it was just a regular like creative agency, and they wanted an intern. They wanted to hire an intern like that was like quick with it and like on his or her feet. So they set up this like pop-up on university properties, like a couple of them, but they mimicked it to look exactly like their office. So it was like really cool. It was like this one cubicle, and then this like other, like it was like an L shape, whatever. So it was like the HR person, then like the boss, like the CEO and whatever. And everyone was like so intrigued by it, and so would go up and be like, what's this? And they'd be like, oh, do you want to interview to be an intern? And like people would sit down and like do it, and then they would just go like from box to box, and they created like this cool environment of like what the office scene would look like.
Got it.
Tripled their applicants. I'm like, that is cool.
I mean, that's smart.
Yeah. So I thought that was a cool pop-up idea.
That's also great marketing.
Insane. I know. And you should have seen like the laydown design like looked so real. Like they had like almost like a plexiglass to make it look like the glass like doors and stuff.
Okay.
It was cool. And then there was like another company called Bark & Co. And they did Bark Shop Live. And this was in Manhattan. And what they would do was, the concept was like, let your dog do the shopping for once. And so local dogs like at this little park would put like a vest on them, and then let them run around with like all of their toys and like latest and greatest.
Okay.
And then at the end, you would get kind of like a recap of like what toy your dog played with the most. Isn't that cool? Okay. And then you could buy it right then and there.
That's cute.
Right?
Love that.
I was like, oh, man, I love this.
Smart.
I feel like you have to be smart, man. Like,
I mean, if you're gonna do a pop-up, you have to like attract a lot of people for a short amount of time.
Totally.
So there's something that like has to create like that excitement, that environment, that like atmosphere that people have to go and have to like try it.
Yes, agree. And then like, yeah, it just has to be kind of like like a cool thought out idea, right? And this other company, Janji, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's a well-known like running athleisure brand.
Okay.
And normally what they do is they participate and advertise in the Boston Marathon. Like there's a convention that always happens for that. And what this brand decided to do was like opt out of that option. Like we're going to save our money on that because it's super expensive. And of course, like whatever. And instead, let's get like a strip mall like space at the end of the marathon. So they did like a whole pop-up shop like a couple blocks like away from the finish line. So like once these runners and stuff were done and kind of like lingering with their friends and family would stumble upon the pop-up. And I'm like, also love that.
Yeah.
Probably like quarter of the price.
Well thought out.
Oh yeah. Like
definitely.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another one here is a travel service. So Blink by Black Tomato. And basically it is like a luxury hotel pop-up.
Okay.
But it's one of those cool ones where they'll do it like in like mountain spaces or like really cool like the Alps or something like that. And I thought that was interesting too because it's like really stunning ideas and again just like gets you like excited about where you're going and I don't know. And then they can pick like cool places that maybe people don't have like a hotel in, you know?
Sure.
And you can say you've gone to and like create that experience. So that's another cool one. But then finally my favorite one, because this was really like eye-catching.
Okay.
A company in Canada it was a Canadian charity called Raising the Roof. And what they would do is like take a car, like an old kind of like beat up car and like paint it, dye it, paint it, like all one color, right? And this particular one was like white. And basically the whole concept was to get the city of Toronto like kind of raise awareness around like the homelessness issue that they have there.
Okay.
And so they would open this car and the whole concept was like so people could understand that like sometimes like in the cold Canadian weather, like that's all people have to sleep in is like the trunk of a car.
Okay.
And they would sell like hats and socks and stuff out of like the trunk, like, and then obviously all of that would go to charity. And I just thought that was like so creative and cool.
I don't know where, but I have seen like somebody pop their like trunk open and like sell stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if like you had this in Indiana, but Michigan had like the state fair. They would have like the spree. Those I'd always see like somebody selling stuff like, you know, in like the trunk of their car. I feel like that like is a thing.
I'm trying to think, like, I feel like more growing up, I remember more like carts, like, you know, people would have kind of like things on wheels.
Like
more.
what you would go shopping with in the city
they're
right
pretty,
now.
I was going to say, it's like, if you go to Millennium Park now, there's like a ton of those. That's kind of what I remember.
Yeah,
more
I
so.
remember those too.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that it's a really cool idea. Like a brand has to get really creative when they do something like that. And like, I don't know. I think it's also even cooler when like two brands collab.
Me
so
too. Like two big brands.
Yeah. Cause like I know here in the city, like it'll be like, you know, Girl and the Goat, you know, so it'll be like Goat After Dark. I'm making that up, but like it'll be like Goat After Dark and it'll be like a Harry Potter like concept, you know? And I'm just like, that's cool. Cause then it's like, you know, it brings in that crowd, but then maybe like people liked the restaurant brand and want to check out what they're doing. And so you have like so many people kind of interested in this whole concept. Yeah. And I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
What's kind of maybe one of your favorites that you've gone to? If you have, I don't even know.
I mean, I haven't gone to a ton of them, to be honest. Do you remember it was Louis Vuitton did a pop-up in West Loop?
Yes.
Love that one.
Oh my gosh. That was cool.
Is probably by far my fave.
Yeah, that was cool. I totally forgot about that.
Okay.
It was like a bright orange building.
Yes.
Like they painted a building like bright orange.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
100% I remember. I just
it was
never
a couple
went.
year. When was that? I want to say it was like 2020, 2019.
Yeah, maybe even.
It was like right at the
sooner
beginning
than
of
that.
COVID. I feel like
Right
I don't know.
before
All
it,
those
probably.
years like blend so
See,
much
that's
together.
what I'm talking about. Like,
but that was definitely like my favorite. Even if from the last, I would say, I don't know, 5+ years.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love that. And I think, doesn't the Jordan brand do that too? Like,
I feel like a lot of these big
random
brands
pop-ups.
do.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, like, look at
cool.
Skims, look at Kylie, all these pop-ups they do.
Yes.
We've talked about them and, episodes back, but talk about amazing marketing, talk about amazing setup. It's a literal temporary storefront that, like, the creative part of these pop-ups is just so well thought out. Like, it all is just, it goes with 1, like the aesthetic, 2, the location, 3, the neighborhood, like what they're selling. It's just like, I don't know. I love them. I definitely, I would say definitely though, favorite would be the Louis Vuitton one in West Loop.
Another recent one I can recall is there's an influencer I follow on Instagram, and she currently like made her own clothing line, if you will, of like nude basics, and it's called like Nudes. And so what she's done is she's based in Dallas, and obviously it's just an online storefront, like everything, and like it sells out so fast. Like, I mean, she can't keep up. It like I've tried to buy something and it like launches at like 9:00 and like 9:08 it's like sold out. Yeah. So anyways, what this family is doing is now they're doing like pop-ups. So like the brand is called Nudes. So Nudes in Nashville, Nudes in LA, Nudes in whatever. And she's going to like the Grove and like all of these like outdoor places. In essence, like an old school kiosk, what we would remember. But like you said, just taking it to a level of like insanity. She had like a chocolate or an ice cream bar, and it was like the chocolate, like what all of the colors like matched the shirt colors, which was so cool. Then there was like another wall with like water and like just beautifully done of like the labeling, and like you would get a free sweatshirt for like going and like all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, it is like so cool. She redid this entire like van into, in essence, like a store. Yeah. And so
I've seen that.
It like comes down. It's so freaking cool, man. It has like drawers, the lights, like, I don't know. And she's killing it. They're freaking killing it.
I love that.
But it gives you, right, an opportunity to actually get it and go to like a store. And again, like, we love the face-to-face interaction of shopping. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. And I love it so much. Anyways, and it gives you like exclusivity too, because it's like, it's not forever. Like, it's not like, a Target that's going to be there, weeks and months and years forever. This is more so like you go there and it's over, right? Like, it's, it might last a weekend, it might last a week. Some of these like last a month, but that's it. I was going
to say, some of the like installations, I feel like will be like, oh, here for a season, here for 3 months. Yeah. That's like what I feel like for the very like bigger brands. But then some, it's like you literally have 2 days to go,
Yeah, for sure. Well,
which also makes it's just so an exclusive.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just a cool thing to say, like, oh, I went to that.
It's an experience.
Yeah. Like, you remember the Van Gogh experience here that they had? I went to that and I was like, I loved that so much. Like, it's nothing crazy, right? It was like a quick, like 30 minutes. It was super cheap, but it was just like a cool experience that, not everyone would have gone to, because you can't just like rent that, online and watch it. But anyways, all that to say that I think the pop-ups and pop-up markets, if you will, all of these like ideas have really like escalated over the years. And so as a marketing person, for me, like, I've kind of taken that on as well, with this idea of like creating kind of like a pop-up market. And so, I mean, I won't take credit. Like, I've worked with our team and other people thought of this idea as well, but we have one. We have a SwapORama pop-up market, and it's definitely significantly smaller, and we'll dive into detail, but I think the ideas and like the reason like behind it is like so thoughtful, and I just kind of want to talk about that today. So
let's hear about it. So it's in Peotone, correct?
Yeah. So it's in Peotone, Illinois, which
is roughly, I just want to, so like people who are listening, let's just go off of like downtown Chicago or like the Ashland location. Like how long would it take you to get to this pop-up?
Okay. So from Ashland Avenue, it is 43 miles.
Okay.
Which would take you about 50 minutes. From Melrose Park, 53 miles. From Alsip, 30 miles. And then the whole reasoning kind of behind it was, again, being in my role, I kind of see it analytics and where people come from and where they travel from. And there seemed to have been kind of not like a calling, but a lot of people from that area were coming up to our Alsip location with just 30 miles. So, the idea came into play where do we try this out and find like some space there and see like, what that looks like if there was a swap there.
Sure.
And so, we found the Will County Fairgrounds, which is your typical like fairground space. You've been there, so I know you can chat with us.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, I know in Indiana, we love our state fairs. We love our county fairs. And I always grew up around that. So the fairground space, I was like, it's kind of like this open palette, right? Where it's like.
See, I did not grow up around that. So when we went, I was just like.
Where are we?
Wait, so you can play baseball here. You can have a horse. You can
have a lot of horses.
Go to a market. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. So there's like, those covered spaces and the outdoor spaces. And that was kind of the concept, right? Like our team just wanted to make it as streamlined and as easy as possible in terms of like, let's not have any signups. Let's not have any space numbers. Let's just kind of, mark things off, if you will.
See what happens.
Yeah. And then just have people kind of roll in and pick their space and go from there. And obviously, like, the first this is our 5th year doing it. So like the first few years, it like, we were kind of testing it and seeing how it was going still. So we really didn't know what to expect, I would say. But as time went on, like, we had more consistent vendors and the same people coming.
Sure.
And they knew what they liked,
Yeah.
So it made it like super easy. But yeah, a couple things I will say about that market is it's clearly seasonal because it's an outdoor, that's not our property. It's a fairground space. And so what also makes it challenging is like we have to go off of their schedule. So they might have, I don't know, a wedding, a picnic, a car show,
a bull rodeo.
A rodeo, yeah.
A rodeo.
They do like a lot of craft fairs. They have their actual like county fair there. So
there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
I saw the space. There's there's like bleachers and like a little junior regular size baseball field.
Yeah, that's like further back. It's a big ground for sure.
I mean, the pavilions are big.
So we're really limited in terms of like what days we could pick. So for example, our team was like, do we open Saturday and Sunday? Do we open just Saturday? Do we open just Sunday? But again, like year after year there, because they're so consistent with who they book, it's really hard for us to do. And when we first started, we were kind of like it was so last minute that we were booking the dates that we really didn't have much to choose from, right? And when I say that because it'd be like Mother's Day weekend and the 4th of July or something like that. So it was hard. It's like, great, like people are going to be out of town and celebrating that. Are they going to come to this pop-up? So it made it pretty hard. But anyways, we've worked it out and we are there one Sunday a month. Obviously it varies. But our next one there is going to be September 24th. So I'm pretty excited about that. The challenges of the flea market, always kind of battling weather. So we've always had to deal with that. In smaller towns too, they have a lot of like local festivals. So that's always something that we're fighting too.
Yeah.
But I kind of would love to hear maybe your initial thoughts of like what you thought of that market, obviously in comparison to like some of the others or in general, like what your thoughts
it's definitely like a different experience. I think if like the regular flea markets at any of the locations in the Chicagoland area are too much for you, that the pop-up seriously is like a perfect place to go.
Yeah.
One thing I really did like about when we went to Peotone was I felt like if you wanted something specifically, that was like a perfect place to go. They had so much Barbie stuff, John Deere stuff, Coca-Cola stuff. It was very specialized. All the crystals, where I feel like, I don't want to say the selection is better than at the other locations. But it's just like, I don't know how to describe
I think that
it.
market has more antiques.
Yeah.
More collectibles.
Yes.
More rare finds. You know?
It's more like something you will not find again.
Yeah.
Where like you can't go to another vendor and find the same thing, like we were talking about in other episodes, where it's like, oh, sometimes, you know, do a lap around Ashland before you go and buy something. Here it's like, if you see it, like, you need to buy it because that's it, and there's nobody else that's selling anything even close to that.
It's almost kind of given me like bougie garage sale vibes.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Like I feel like, honestly, I would literally
and whatever
low-key find a Louis trunk there, like, or something out of the blue.
I know what you mean.
Like, that is like so epic.
Totally. No, remember but like also just like craftsmanship like was there too, in terms of like,
oh my God, those like metal
pieces
that he used with like old tools.
That is like art for me.
Absolutely.
Like 100%. Or even, you know, the lady that had the really awesome like aprons and
all the like
custom items. Placemats. She had
I mean,
kids' toys, I think.
Napkins, aprons.
Totally. I think there's a lot of that. And I
Yeah.
also think too, like, I'm not a big collector, but I
feel like you could call it more of like an Etsy shop in a way. That's giving me Etsy vibes.
That's it. I think that's a really good way. It's like it's 100% Etsy.
Yes.
Where you can get like basic plain t-shirts and hats.
Yes.
At one booth, and then
you could get it embroidered, like
tape, whatever.
You can put orders into people and order things that you want made, and then pick it up there.
That's a good point.
Yep.
There was like the wreaths.
Yep.
Those like seasonal wreaths and things like that. But then too, like, I am not an automotive expert, but there was like really cool like olds like parts. Remember, was it like light? I don't want to say lights, or
it was like,
oh my gosh, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was like car parts, but not like,
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. But
yeah,
anyways,
there's a lot of like very intricate, unique, one of a kind things. I would definitely compare it to an Etsy shop and say that it is. I mean, it's an outdoor market. You have pavilions, you've got the whole 9 yards, but like,
definitely
it
quaint,
is definitely
cozy.
Giving me Etsy shop vibes.
Yes, I think that is like a really good way to describe it.
You're welcome.
And bougie garage sale. But anyways, so keeping up with this concept, I think that the whole purpose of it was to, you know, also raise awareness of the SwapORama brand in a different location. Mm-hmm. But, you know, what's made it a challenge, as, you know, to your point, is it's not your typical swap. It is a different vibe, as we've mentioned. So that's why I kind of want people to like understand that when you go there, don't expect, you know, the thousands of vendors. No. Like, it's a very much so small,
50 vendors.
Yes, exactly.
50 vendors, outdoor.
Spread out.
Mm-hmm. Pavilion spaces. Not much as far as like food, snacks, that type of thing.
Right.
I think you get a hot dog.
You can get burgers, I think.
And a burger, and then that's pretty much it.
Right. Like,
but it's definitely like worth the drive, I would say. Yeah. And like, if there is like something that like you're looking for that's like weird, I don't even want to say weird, like something you can't really find in like your normal store, I definitely think it's worth going there, because in my head I was like, wow, if I had like a bar or like something, I could literally come here and decorate the whole bar, because there's so many themed things and like themed like vendors, you know what I mean? It's like a Etsy shop. Yeah, no, of course. Or like, yeah, you know, like you'll see like old school stuff, that Pokemon cards, how many old videos, or like those vintage band tees that we've seen there. Roller skates from like, oh my gosh, I even forgot about that area. I feel like. Oh my gosh, yeah, we didn't even know how to put the blades on those things. I was like, we were getting lessoned. I think so too. I think like for a nice,
casual Sunday that is just like cozy, like that's the place to go. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
It's your typical like small town vibe. I feel like, I don't know the exact demographics of Peotone, but like it is a smaller, you know, town off of a country like road highway. It's right off the highway, so it's not like country, but I do think that, yeah, it's just, it's one of those things where you like walk outside and you're like, you know, like just a cool stroll, if you will.
Totally.
Yeah, I think we kind of hit the nails on the head, and I love when people support it so much. I think the vendors there, as we've mentioned, like they're just super passionate about what they do, as all of our vendors are.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they keep supporting us, you know, show after show, year after year, and we appreciate that. I know I've done a ton of work to try to, you know, up the ante and boost it up as much as I can. And we will continue to do so. And I think the hopes of it, again, is just to make it like a fun, attractive place.
Family friendly.
Yeah, family friendly, and just keeping the SWAP brand alive.
I agree.
So, let's see if I have any other points. I think I mentioned you don't need like a vendor's license or anything. If you are interested in being a vendor, all you have to do is show up that day. There's no registration, no signups, no anything. Literally just pull your car up with whatever you want to sell. It's $25 for a space. Bring your own tables, chairs, etc., and set things up as you like. Spaces are 10 by 10 on the inside or 10 by 15. If you're in a space outside, it's 20 by 30. If you're a vendor, you know what that means, you know? I'm speaking vendor language right now.
Going 20 by 30 feet. Is that
You're
wrong?
like, okay, I have a rug that's
that
7
wrong?
by 13. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
For all visitors, it's $1 to get in there. It is free for kids and free for seniors. We classify seniors as 65 and older, and kids 12 and younger. So that's nice for only $1.
Not bad.
Yeah. It's fun to walk around.
Yeah.
It's open 7 to 2, and I think I mentioned the next show is September 24th, and that'll be the last of the pop-up season. The address is 710 South West Street in Peotone, Illinois, at the Will County Fairgrounds.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think one more thing I wanted to kind of mention is just emphasizing the popularity of these things, and just, again, understanding that, I don't know, I think there's a lot of customer benefits. You know, you're diversifying yourself, and it's making it exclusive. Like, we hit the nail on the head with all of these places, you know, whether it's Jack's or whatever, there is exclusivity.
Yeah.
Like, you can't find these items like everywhere. No. So come check it out.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's a good little getaway from the city.
Yeah, we liked it.
We did. I was like,
you got to see a lot of new things.
What's up? I'm just riding, baby.
I know, but it was a nice speed limit, so it's a nice like cruise down for us, you know.
Definite nice cruise down. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have on pop-ups. Do you have any final thoughts today?
I don't have any final thoughts. Like always, if you guys like this episode, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
Perfect. And thanks for watching another episode of You,
Me,
and the Flea.
Bye.
See you next